up, everybody? This is a demonstration video showing you how to do the rule of thirds play in Adobe Photoshop. You're going to need your rule of thirds play handout, which you can find on your Google Classroom class under Photoshop. We'll close and reopen this image, see if that works. Alright, so opening up this image. Cool. What I'm going to do is take my single lonely layer here and I'm going to duplicate it. The instructions will tell you open your picture, duplicate your background layer. The keyboard shortcut for that is Control-J. The long way to do it is to right click and tell it to duplicate. Now, doesn't matter really what you name it, but I'm going to call this flipped because we're going to flip it around on the horizontal axis, meaning side to side. So we have two copies of the same picture. The one that's on top, the instructions tell us, go to Edit, Transform, and tell it to flip horizontal. So let's do that. Edit, Transform, Flip, Horizontal. Now you could flip it vertically and rotate. There's a lot of things you could do. We're just going to flip it horizontally. Alright, so when we compare these two, we have one facing one side, the other flipped to the opposite side. And now this is where it gets really fun, because there are different ways you can do combinations of these two layers. And that's all controlled under this drop-down menu. Every layer that you make in Photoshop starts off with the normal as the default setting for the layer. But if you change it to darken mode or multiply, or if I press the down arrow, color burn, linear burn, darker color, lighten, screen, color dodge, linear dodge, lighter color, overlay, you can see there's a whole different host of choices that we have. And it's up to you guys to experiment with these to find out what they do. Ultimately, you're going to need to save, I would say, 3 to 5 variations. So I'm going to scroll all the way back up to the top. There's normal. Here's darken. I kind of like darken, so I'm going to do a save as, and instead of naming it IMG 0020, I'm going to go ahead and throw last name, ROT play. I use darken, so I'm going to call it darken. It saves it as a Photoshop document. I'll save it there, right in the same folder where I made it. Always choose to maximize compatibility. You don't need to see this every time you save something though, so I'll click OK. Alright, so that one was darken. If I like lighten or color dodge, let me scroll through. Screen's neat. I like the one where the faces are completely blurred out though. Very creepy. I like it. I'm going to change it to lighten when I save it. So I'll go to save as. This time, Hatchel ROT play. Lighten. Alright, cool. So that's saved. Maybe I want to play with something else like overlay or vivid light. So each one of these techniques, hard mix is kind of fun. I'll save that. Save as ROT hard mix. Good. About difference. I like that one too. That's fun. Exclusion's also pretty fun. So I'll save as exclusion. Can't spell. Nice. So those are all saving as Photoshop documents. I don't think that they're going to be too large to turn in, but when I go to save as, I'm going to look at the size here. Those are too big. That is like 138 megabytes. So if we were to turn them in as Photoshop documents to Google Classroom, they won't actually preview. We won't be able to see what the content is. So what you have to do is switch that up. Save them as JPEGs, because JPEGs are very rarely going to be larger than 10 megabytes. All right. So all of these source JPEGs, they look like they're about 4 megabytes each. Okay, so we're going to take this and save rule of thirds play exclusion.jpg in that folder. Max out your quality. Click OK. Alright. Now I could open all the other recent files. Let me open up hard mix and I will save as a JPEG copy. What's nice about that, I don't have to retitle or rename anything. All the names are attached from when I save them as Photoshop documents. Go to Open Recent. We did Hard Mix and Exclusion. How about Lighten? Save as. We'll change our file type to JPEG. Goody goody. Alright, and then the last one that I did, Open Recent and Darken. So, save as a JPEG. Save. So now I've saved 4 Photoshop documents and 4 different JPEGs. Those are ready to be turned in to Google Classroom. So make sure that you save often. You want to save as both PSD and JPEG files for each new name that you do. And once you get done combining flipped versions of the images, you could play around with putting dissimilar pictures together. So I'll make another video showing where you can take this. Remember, you're duplicating your layers, you're changing your layer mode from normal to any of the other options. You can also adjust your opacity setting, which lowers the visibility of the layer that you have selected. So those are all things you can play with as you go.